You ready?
You got a bunch of questions on there.
Well, see, and well, here we are, guys. My name is David Capperino. I'm here with Kyle Gott. Thank you guys for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And so this, you could call it an interview. These are more so just going to be questions that maybe things that may pertain to me, something that maybe I'd be looking for some guidance from you guys, things I'm just curious about, maybe some other people are curious about, or how you do the things you guys do. Because I think some people looking in at your guys' lives of what you're doing now with the road trip, I think some people may think like, holy crap, how are they doing that sort of thing? And other things like, you know, relationship wise, because you guys started out long distance, right? So I am still long distance with my girlfriend now. I'm sorry, Carrie. Here we go. The first thing I have here is, what propelled a 6-month road trip? Like how long were you planning a 6-month road trip? Maybe not the actual road trip itself, but how long were you planning a potential trip while in the military?
So actually, the trip that we're on, I designed in 2010.
Oh, really? So, I didn't know that.
And it was,
okay.
I was going to take a year to do it, and I was going to drop out of college with 2 buddies. So I've kind of always had that desire to do a road trip like this. So pretty much when we got married, and I knew I was getting out like 3 years in, so we had the last 3 years, it was kind of like, okay, what are we going to do when we get out? And travel was a big thing that we were going to do, so we're like, we're either going to go overseas originally, but then we're like, what if we just like travel the United States for a bit? So probably like 2 years ago is when like the road trip like started being really talked about. And the last year before our road trip, we were like full on planning everything about the road trip for an entire year.
Your last year in, so early 2018?
Yeah.
Okay. While you were in, you were thinking about those things, like you said.
Yeah.
And then that first year is when you're like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right? And then actually the second part to my question you kind of touched on is, why not like a backpack in Europe or take a cruise or something where it was like, hey, we could do 2 weeks, do a Disney cruise. I mean, I'm 27, I still like Disney. Yeah. You know, like why not do a Disney cruise?
Yeah.
You know, why?
So we've actually never been on a cruise, and we want to do that eventually at some point. But for us, we were like, we wanted to do long-term travel. That was like our biggest thing, is we wanted to be like full-time travel YouTubers was our goal. So we were kind of like, let's get our feet wet, do 6 months road tripping, and then we were planning on going overseas for a year actually, and like backpacking Asia and backpacking Europe, which a lot has changed since then. So we're actually, that's not what we're trying to do anymore. But
eventually,
I don't even think like long term, like backpacking and stuff like that. Maybe like a month-long trip, like backpacking would be like ideal. You have something to say?
Let's just say
she kept looking around.
We have a plan to do all the things that you mentioned, but we've been learning so much as we go, and we just figured to start out, why not just explore our own country and then venture outwards more.
Because you guys, and if you don't know the story, shame on you if you don't. You guys started out in Japan, right? Okinawa. So how long were you there?
I was there for 3 years, and she was there a year and a half with me.
Okay. So for a year and a half for both of you guys, was it constant travel? Obviously, when you're not working, was it like every weekend? Hey, we're gonna go here.
Yeah, we would travel the island of Okinawa though, so it's like 30 miles by 10 miles. So that's like all we had to explore. But like every weekend we would go out and do 2 or 3 things. So every weekend we were doing stuff. And then even when I was there, we took a 18-day trip traveling, backpacking Asia. So we did.
So you kind of, you know.
Yeah, we went to 4 different countries in 18 days and backpack. We just had a backpack each. That's all we took. And
just sleeping on a rock or something.
Yeah, we always slept in hotels when we were at places. But one night we slept in the Malaysian airport on the floor, and so that was pretty uncomfortable. But
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was.
That's brutal.
And so we've always kind of had that like travel mindset. So that's why when we were getting out, it was like, let's travel full time. Because every time I had free time, that's what we were doing. But then it turned into, on this road trip, we're learning, we actually enjoy working and traveling. And so we would rather have it be a work like week and maybe work for a few weeks or a few months and then take like a month-long trip. So backpacking Europe or Asia or anything like that's not out of the picture. Just like full-time, like us just being travelers, and that's all we do, not what we want to do anymore.
Right, okay, so that made this kind of answer. That same question, like I said, looks a little wordy, but why we're doing a 6-month trip? Why not like a 3-month, just to...
I guess that's 6 months just as like
It's like a.
It's like half a year. You're like half of 2019. You're just like living on the road.
Yeah, just being a nomad.
Yeah, and so I mean, like 3 months would have still been good too, but the amount of distance that we were trying to cover was like 3 months would have been like you'd have to be booking because we were going from Las Vegas
so
to
the
New
purpose
York.
was to cover the country.
Yeah, New York. So we're going to 25 states, 27 states, something like that. So to go from Las Vegas to New York, down to Florida, and back is like in 3 months would be like super fast. And plus, we were planning on spending because I hadn't spent holidays with my family, so in 6 years. So we went back to Iowa for Thanksgiving and to Ohio for Christmas. So from October to the new year, we already knew we were going from Las Vegas to New York.
Okay.
So then that already would have been 2 months.
Okay.
So it'd been like, then we would have to make 1 month out of like down to Florida and across the southern states.
Right. So there was I'm not saying there wasn't a point before, but you had things that you were going to hit, not just, we're traveling the country. You're
we had like time restraints on certain things.
That makes sense. Okay. So what was that moment like when you guys are packing up, you're throwing everything? You guys had a vehicle before this one now,
Yeah, we
right?
had a car.
Okay.
We had a Toyota Corolla.
Hey, I got a Toyota Corolla right now. She's still kicking. 2001.
Yeah, we had 2015.
Oh,
yeah.
I wish.
We love it.
I'm still in the cassette tape era.
Yeah.
You still got the tape. So what was the moment like when you guys pack up the Corolla? You put your foot on the pedal and you're like, we're starting the trip now. What was that like? You've been planning it for 8 years. Took it seriously. Not that you weren't taking it seriously, but the last year you're like, we're seriously planning.
Made it happen.
Right.
Last year.
So what was that like? You guys are driving. Okay, we're going to our first destination. What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I was pretty hype about it because I was like, dude, this is like leaving. I was like, this is what I've wanted to do my whole life, and I can now afford it. Like we've been saving for years, and so I'm like, we can now afford to like. We already had the gas money saved up. We already knew how much everything was going to cost if we didn't stay at hotels, if we stayed with friends and family. How much food would cost, all this stuff, and so it was. I don't know. It just felt like a big accomplishment. Like it was like a really like. You say you're going to do something and then you do it, but it's like you say you're going to do something that like everyone else would tell you is impossible. Yeah. And we're finally doing that, and so I think it was just like. It was like graduating, you know, like you're like, oh, I did it,
right? And
you know, but like we were like starting the trip, but it's like I did it, like I quit my job, we're traveling full time, we have the money to do it, like I don't know, it was just like a big accomplishment. Like I was pretty like excited and happy, and obviously we've kind of like changed our minds, you know, we were like we want to be full-time travelers, so in the beginning we had this like excitement about it because we were like, this is what we want and we're finally doing it, and then we've learned over time it's not exactly what we want, but like we love travel, just not continuously, but in the moment we thought it was what we wanted, so when we achieved that, we were starting the trip, I think it was just like that sense of relief, like we did it. Yeah,
I could see that. So would you relate that? I promise you I wasn't going to bombard you with a bunch of military stuff because I know like you've hammered the topic, but like so now that you guys were like, oh yeah, 6 months, you're coming through like, okay, this is a lot of work. How would you compare that to, you know, you signed for a 6 year and you're like, oh, I should have done a 4 year. Like,
it's going to be a 5 month trip in the end because we're actually cutting a month off. So we're actually going to be home in less than a month. So it's actually a good thing that we didn't have like, you know, we have to make it last 6 months. So we wanted it to be 6 months, but now it's going to be a 5 month trip. But that sense of like, oh man, we're just ready for it to be kind of over now. And I can see the relation of that, but I don't think it's to the point where it's stressing me out. Like to the point of like how the military was stressing me out.
Like where it's like you have to do this, where it's like, hey, we can cut this. This is now 5 months.
We can kind of like manipulate it how I want it to be or how she wants it to be. We kind of have that control versus when I was in, it was like, you're working weekend duty. I'm like, dude, like I'm out processing and you're telling me I have to come in and work the weekend. And like, you know, I don't have any control. It's just kind of like they're telling me what to do continuously. And here we kind of, you know, we realize it's not what we want.
Like, hey, let's go over to Cap's house. Like,
we can just kind of go where we want, when we want. So.
Right, exactly. So the next thing I got here is, what was the first moment, what was the first moment and how soon into the trip were you guys like, okay, this is a little bit more than we thought? We talking day 2, day 127?
No, it was right after New Year's. So it would have been day 7.
Did you guys get to see Ninja play?
Oh, kind of.
We were like 10 feet from the stage. So
oh, really?
We made a video about why Ninja, like it was a big failure and all that stuff.
You'll have to watch it.
Oh, see,
because you'll be like, what? Oh, yeah. It It was stupid. Like, everything is for TV, so all the people there are like, what's going on? Because nobody's in the loop.
Yeah.
Because it's all just for the cameras.
172.
Yeah. So, right after New Year's, it was when we were in New York, and then we were like, all right, let's just jet down the East Coast. Let's just get to Florida where it'll be warmer. Let's just hang out there. That was about the time. So, yeah, it was just over 2 months in. We were like, okay, we kind of need to, like
this
slow down a little bit. Because up until that point, we had just been, like, doing stuff every day and not working at all. And so we kind of like got burnt out from vacation in a way.
Those first 2 months, did you feel almost obligated? Like, hey, we're doing this for other people. I feel like now we have to like...
Yes.
Okay.
Like extreme. And that's kind of what made, because we were trying to turn our life into our job. So we were trying to create a vlogging channel to be our business, like to be our job.
Right.
And so that obligation is like your life now becomes your obligation. Like, and other people are kind of in control. And so we realized after like the 2 months that we were like, man, like this is a lot more like stressful than we thought. As far as like trying to make your life your job, it almost made it not as fun. Like it was more fun when I was working and I had a job, and then we did it for fun on the side. Because it wasn't like, I need to do this, like I have to have a good weekend in order to make a living. It was like, my job is for my living, so then when I go to make videos of my life, it was for fun.
You're looking forward to that.
And then it became a job, like where I have to wake up and I have to have a good day and we have to do the most like cool thing. And it just becomes like overwhelming. And I would not be a good celebrity at all. Like I'm not like I'm like an introvert.
Yeah, people, is that Kyle guy?
Yeah, I'd be like, if there was like if I got mobbed by like 50 people, I would probably have a panic attack and like fall over. Like I'd just be like, what is going? Like I'm just like, get me into a room by myself. I don't want to be like, and not that I don't like people. Like I can talk with people.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
But it's just I can get overwhelmed very quickly in a big sense if there's a lot of attention on me in person. And so that would be, something that would be, we were realizing we don't want our life to be that, because like, even I was thinking like, once we have kids, it's like, imagine if like our business is like our vlog, right? And we make it huge and we make all this money or whatever, we make a living off it, we have kids. And then all of a sudden you're sitting here and you can't even have like a normal life with your kids. And so it's like, not saying we're going to not vlog, but it's not in my interest to have us be like the biggest vlog channel, you know?
Right.
Like, I would rather have other things that are like sustaining us. Yeah. And that just be more of like, we always call it our video scrapbook. And so we treat it like our video scrapbook. And so when we got ready for this trip, we kind of stopped doing that because we were making it more our job. Okay. So now we're back to being like, we're going to go back home, we're going to work, and then we're going to still do our video scrapbook. So it's kind of like making us enjoy vlogging again versus it feeling like an obligation.
Yeah, and I think I kind of did a little bit of that with my channel. And I was like, well, it's me, it's my life, I want to document everything, because I think that's what we do now. It's just like the times we're in now.
It's weird for me to be like, we're going to go out and like, if we're like, we're going to go do something cool today, it's weird to be like,
how do you not
we're not going to take the camera?
Yeah. Like,
it'd be weird because I feel like it's part of the moment. And so... yeah, it's definitely interesting.
I have a folder which it's like I'll record something and I'm like, okay, I won't use that now, but I need to keep that and document it. How has the travel, tested you guys as individually, like Kyle Gott and Makenna Gott, and then how has this tested Kyle and Makenna?
So for me, I'm a very like work-oriented person. So on this trip, I haven't been working enough to kind of feel like satisfied myself. So it's been really stressful for me because I like to work hard, play hard, not play hard and barely work. So it's like really weird for me to, on this trip, we've had the struggle of being like, we need to get work done, we need to get work done, we need to get, and like not being able to fully tell ourselves like, this is a work week. And we might be in Florida, but like it's a work week. Like we shouldn't go out every day and do stuff. And so we kind of struggle a lot with that and everything, and that's one of the reasons why we're excited to get back home. But there's been, with us, our marriage, I don't know, you want to jump in here?
Okay, let's see. Oh, wait, here, I can jump. You guys don't have to move. Here, let me jump in the middle. Let me jump in the middle.
That works, okay.
Yeah, okay.
If I remember correctly, because I watched your guys' videos when I was trying to enlist, and from what I remember, you were looking for tips on marching.
Yeah.
So that's how long ago I'm trying to recall. So, and you were originally thinking about going in. So like, how has now this life, now that you're in as Makenna, like how has that tested you as a person? And then now that you're married in this life, like you're obviously doing it as a couple, how has that tested you guys?
I found Kyle because I was going to join the military, ended up not joining the military, kind of flip-flop back and forth a few times. Am I going to? Am I not going to? Jumped into the YouTube life when we got married because he's always done YouTube, so I became part of that. And we decided when we got married we were going to start a channel ourselves. It was a learning process for me because I had to learn how to edit videos and do all that stuff, but now I can do all that myself. The road trip has been a very big eye-opener for the both of us. A lot of things like with life and with work, I would say. Kyle is very, like he said, work hard, play hard, and I'm like, play hard, but I know I need to work too.
But these white sand beaches though, 30 minutes away is the golf.
Like I like to reward myself for my hard work with play.
You're like, come on. We need to.
Well, this trip.
She's more like, I just kind of have to work if I do want to play. Like that's where we're kind of different in that mindset.
But I think this trip is actually helping us both get on track and get on the same page with the way we're thinking and what we both want out of life and what is the best way to get us there. So we realized, because we haven't been working a whole lot, but I haven't been enjoying that because then we get behind on work, because then we're trying to balance working plus enjoying where we're at and like going out and exploring and spending time with friends and family that we meet along the way.
Because then you do this whole trip and it's like, oh, how was Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, we you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and we have tried to balance all of that, but we just dug ourselves into a deeper hole. And then some people who watch our videos are like, hey guys, like you're on vacation, just take a break. And we're like, no, it's not like that. Because if we want this to be our job, we have to keep up with our job. And if we don't do our job, it's not going to be our job.
Then we can't go on vacation.
Yeah, we've just realized that full-time travel is not what we want to do. We'll be talking.
But traveling is.
We'll be talking about that more on our channel.
Traveling is something we want to do. Just
we want to go back to a routine of life. We want to go back home, but then be able to go on vacation for like a week or 2 weeks, but it be vacation only. Like not worry about editing. Like we can still record the things we want to record, but we don't work on it until we get back home.
I've just realized that I want to have one job and work 40 hours a week and then live life on top of that. Versus I was in the Air Force working 50, 60 hours, then come home and edit videos every day and always be doing YouTube stuff.
Right.
So I was working like 100-hour work weeks the whole time I've been in the Air Force. So then now we jump right into like full-time travel. So we're like on vacation, but like we're trying to like document it and edit it and work on stuff. And it's become stressful because I'm not feeling like I'm working. And so it's made it like way more stressful than I ever imagined. Right. But when we get back, I can work a 40-hour work week. I can work 8 hours, 5 days a week on our YouTube stuff, and then be like, let's just have normal life after that.
Yeah, I would say that this trip has been really hard. It has not been what we expected it to be, and we've changed a lot of things along the way, and we're at the point where we just like want to get back home.
So those lessons learned, because you said after month 2 you guys were like, okay, this is maybe a little bit different than we thought. How have you applied that in month 2 to now, whatever 127 days is?
We pretty much have taken a step back, or a lot of steps back. And
we haven't really worked a lot.
But we also haven't been like going out and doing a lot.
Okay.
Which people who are watching
We've been
our
eating
videos,
a lot of pizza,
a lot of Chik-Fil-A.
Yeah.
But we haven't really been going out and exploring because where we are in such of a hole with work, we're not even in the mood to be like, yeah, let's go explore. Because if we want to explore, we want to record it so we can remember it. But then if we record it, then that's one more video in the hole.
Yeah, then it's,
And so we're like, let's not edit any more videos.
Pretty much since New Year's, we have taken a huge break.
I think in the last month, we've maybe recorded like 4 videos. Other than like what I've been doing with like Air Force stuff. Because that's what we're working on our own separate stuff. So like on top of all this, we're also working our own separate business ventures. So I have my own business stuff that I run, and she has her own.
Right.
So like we're trying to run 3 separate businesses while travel. It's been hectic.
Biggest takeaway is we have learned that we don't want Gott Love to be our main business venture. We don't want our life to be our main business venture. We want to go back to, like you said, our video scrapbook,
I can
where
make
it's like,
informational all day
yeah,
if I'm in a bad mood.
we can record
Right,
what we
matter.
want to record, and it's our life. That's what we want to remember. But then we can like work hard on like our separate stuff. But we just want our life to be our life without any obligations. Yeah.
Man, I need a, like,
Hold on.
yeah,
Let's
we've
take a
also-
break after this.
Yeah, right? Holy cow.
Hold on.